So I pretty much just play mid lane in this game. And because of that, that means I've had a lot of games in mid lane, and I've picked up a few tricks also from watching and learning from other people as well that I wanted to share with you guys. Now this could go on for a long time, but to keep the video short, we're going to go through 5 of the tricks that I use every single time I'm playing mid, every single game, and share them with you guys so you can start implementing them yourselves. Now guys, keep in mind I am not a pro at this game, so these are like beginner tips or learner tips or people who just want to think, hey, do I do this? Let's see, and then take advice from that as well. I'm not going to give you the secret ingredient to be able to defeat anybody in mid lane, of course. Anyway, other than that, let's go. So before we even jump into tips, first of all, when you're picking your hero, make sure you pick something that fits well with your team. Don't just pick any random hero and go, yeah, this is what we're going to play. If you want to try and win and you want to push your win rate up, look at what's going to be in the game, because chances are mid laners usually do get the last pick in your team, and look what's going to fit comfortably into that game. Now, of course, when you're learning a hero, you're going to want to pick it anyway, and you're going to want to play it against bad matchups as well as good matchups, so you get a good feel of how to play it in what situation. But if you are looking at a pool of heroes, for example, you have maybe 3 to 5 mid lane heroes that you know you're comfortable with, look at what fits into the draft better. Then also think about their draft and what they might pick mid, so you can kind of think, hey, they could really pick a Viper right now because we have a Bristleback. How am I going to verse a Viper in mid lane so I don't get stomped? These are things that you should think about when you're picking your hero, because it's just super important. You don't want to pick something thinking, yeah, I like playing this hero, and then you see that they pick a Viper and you're like, I hate my life right now. I am going to be useless to my team. I'm not going to be able to offer anything, and I'm also going to complain for 50 minutes because, man, I hate this hero so much, right? So think about it, look at their picks, look at your picks, and then think, right, what's going to be good for me? Cool. And then what might they pick? Will they pick a Viper? Will they pick something like a Death Prophet that's going to stomp me in lane? And if it looks good, then maybe you should consider something that's okay against those heroes too. Just like, for example, if I do look at the enemy team and think they're going to pick a Viper, we have a PA, we have a Bristleback, we have a Tidehunter. Viper's too damn good not to pick right now. I will pick like a Death Prophet to make sure that I'm not just going to get stomped by that. So consider this too. So while that was some tips and some thoughts to give about, it wasn't really one of the 5 tips. So I guess you're getting 6. Let's move on to the first one, or the second, however you want to count it. Okay, so now that we're actually on the laning phase, we can give the tips for the laning in mid lane. Always start with an Observer Ward and a Sentry Ward. Always, if you can. Obviously, if someone's bought them out in your team, then queue them up and it's okay. You might not get it every time, because if someone's bought it, don't start arguing with your team saying, I need to have a ward mid. Just buy one if you can, as soon as you can, and then go mid. You can ask your team, hey, do you mind dropping an Observer Ward so I can buy one? And then buy a Sentry as well. And yes, buy your own Sentry for mid. The reason being is there's a really good chance that you're going to be able to de-ward the enemy's Observer by placing it where you see me placing mine here. Every single game, even if I'm getting a bottle early on, I'll buy a Sentry Ward and I will place one here after like the first creep wave or something like that when I've pushed my lane in a little bit. Chances are you're going to snipe a Observer on either side of the river or directly in the middle, which you can then get yourself extra gold for killing, so the Sentry Ward pays off, but also the value of de-warding their ward is so good as well. Like taking away their vision is insanely good. Now, of course, you may not get a ward, you may not actually take one down, but this tells you that they do not have a ward there for you to take. So now you know they don't have vision in that certain area. They may have one way further down to the side, of course, you don't know that, but you know that they don't see directly across the river. They don't have that great vision at nighttime if they don't deal with your Sentry Ward, and then you know that you're in a better position at nighttime, or you can bring someone in to gank, you can teleport someone in, and you know where they can see you and where they can't. You can use this to your advantage, and you definitely should. So just ensuring that you have your Observer up, and then also using a Sentry Ward to take away their vision to get yourself some more gold, or just to remove their vision or confirm they don't even have vision, can make a massive difference to putting you in a better place to win the lane. Sticking to the idea of vision and wards, this one is the second tip, and it is super important as well. Buy yourself a second Observer Ward before the 5-minute mark. Now, if you want to go all out and you're winning lane, you're doing really well, also buy another Sentry to make sure they don't have vision too. But the main thing here is ensuring that you personally have vision for the 5-minute mark-ish, so that you are okay over nighttime, but also you can contest the 6-minute rune a lot easier. As long as you can see one of the rune spawn points at the 6-minute mark, it gives you a hell of a big benefit to get that rune before the enemy mid laner does. Not only that, having the vision protects you from any other supports that may move in to help secure that as well. Keep it in mind, if you're stomping the enemy mid laner, there's a good chance that they're going to say, look guys, I need you to help me get this 6-minute rune, or else I'm just kind of out of this game and I'm going to be playing from behind a lot. So having that vision ensures that you're safe to pick up the rune, but also I can't tell you how many times I've ensured to do this and I can clearly tell that the enemy mid laner has not done it at all, because they go and check one of the rune spots and I'm like, I know it's not there. I can see it in the other lane. Like I can see it bottom in the bottom rune spot, and you're walking top. Like you clearly don't have any wards. Like that's crazy. It's free. Just buy a ward, fly it out, put it there around the 5-minute mark. It'll last past that point, and you can ensure that you have vision of the rune. You can also ensure that you're safe through the nighttime. This is just something you don't want to forget to do. And the way that I like to remember this is I'll actually put one in my quick buy, so that when you press like shift and then click on the items, you can queue all the things up, right? And if you press control shift and click on the items, you can put multiple items in there. I will include a ward in there most of the time as well, to make sure that, you know, I'm not going to forget to buy one ready for the 5-minute mark. Now, I'm not saying buy it straight away as soon as it comes back in stock when you've just lain in the mid. You don't want to steal from the other lanes. You want to make sure they have vision as well. But grab a ward for yourself coming up towards the 5-minute mark, about 4 minutes, 4:30, fly it out, get it placed down. The vision war in mid is absolutely huge, and you definitely want to be taking advantage of it. If you're finding this video interesting or useful so far, please do consider subscribing to the channel. So many of you guys have joined lately. The channel's growing tremendously fast. I cannot believe it. Like 1,000 subs in the last few days is insane. So thank you very much. Check out the other videos if you haven't already. I'll also be making a lot more content up in the next few days, so do click that sub button. But otherwise, let's get back to the video. Tip number 3 is going to all be about that regen. So many people don't spend money on regen, especially if they have a bottle. They're so hesitant to then buy themselves a salve or a mango or a clarity or anything like that, because what, I can just get the next rune, right? And then everything will be okay. Don't make this mistake, because regen and resources in terms of HP and mana is so damn important in the mid lane. It's a 1v1 where you can have the complete option to just push someone out of lane if you're dominating them enough, and if you give them that little chance to come back into lane because you didn't have enough mana, you didn't have enough health to trade safely in case someone TP'd or something, then you kind of just giving them way more than they need to get. The same goes for if they are kind of beating you a little bit and you don't buy any regen, you're given that opportunity to make sure you're scared of them. You don't want to get close to trade a couple of hits because you're waiting for the rune to spawn, or you're waiting for the bounty rune or anything like that. Just get a salve, get some tangos, get a clarity, whatever you need, and fly it the hell out to you and get your health and mana back up enough so you can keep contesting in lane. If you're in a position where you can't contest with the enemy hero in mid for up to a minute or something like that because you're waiting for the next rune to spawn, you need to also keep in mind that when you go for that rune, if the enemy mid lane is paying attention and are onto it, they're not going to let you get that rune. They're going to wait until they see which way you're going and then follow you and either force you to give up on it, and then you're stuck again in the same position where you can't compete for a rune, and then they've got one and they're ahead, or they're going to make you walk all the way around to the other one, wasting more of your time, by which time you get back, your creeps are under your tower and you're losing more XP. Even just flying out one salve, flying out one clarity or a mango or anything like this can make a huge difference in lane, whether you're the one putting pressure on or whether you're the one taking pressure as well. Don't be afraid to buy out a little regen, because if it gets you back into lane, keeps you there getting last hits, getting XP, and also competing and trading with the other person as well, costing them HP, costing them any sort of mana costs or anything like that, ability cooldowns and whatnot. This is a huge deal and something not to underestimate. So don't stand around waiting to refill your bottle. Do something about it. Either ask someone to TP mid if they die and then you can refill it, or just buy a salve, buy a tangos, buy a clarity, buy a mango, whatever you need, and fly it out. Then you can keep contesting in lane. It's super important. So this tip was actually improved by someone who commented in a previous video, a few of you guys actually, so thank you to you. So this tip refers to drawing creep aggro onto your range creep. Now, if you're a mid laner, you'll know, or you would have seen it at least, where other players or yourself should be dragging the creep aggro onto your range creep to get your range creep to die first. If your range creep dies first, then the creep equilibrium goes towards your side, but also it gives you an opportunity to deny that range creep from the enemy mid laner as well, because it starts dying, you can get the secure on it when it's on your side of the map, and it's just a little bit easier. So drawing creep aggro in mid and controlling where the lane is super important on whether you're going to win or lose, because it puts you in a better position to be able to get last hits and to contest with the enemy and get denies. All this is very important. But did you know that even if you can't see the enemy mid laner, say if you don't have a high ground ward because they've dewarded it or something like this, and you are in the river trying to pull aggro down from on top of the hill, you can actually use the A-click attack option on a portrait at the top of the screen on the enemy heroes for anyone you can see on the map. If you can see any other enemy hero on the map, just A-click one of those portraits and you will aggro the creeps onto yourself, and you can pull them back to where you want them to be. This works globally, but it also means you don't have to move your camera to that hero and actually target the hero. You can click it on the portrait at the top, which is incredible. I love it. This is crazy good. So I guess it's kind of like a double tip. If you don't, one, pull creep aggro anyway, you definitely should be doing this in the first place. But then two, if you don't see the enemy mid laner, you can use this trick to be able to pull the aggro from any hero on the map that you can see. This next one is going to be all about ganking. Now, when you're going to be ganking to other lanes, there's a few things that you need to keep in mind and think about. It's quite important whether it's going to be successful or not. One, you need to kind of consider whether it's going to be successful or not. Like, this is kind of important too. You don't want to be wasting your time. When you're leaving mid, you're likely going to be giving up a wave of XP and gold to be able to do that gank. You're then going to be giving quite a lot of bonus to the enemy mid laner if they don't leave. When you come back, if you don't get any success, they're going to be ahead of you again, and you're going to have to then play from behind. So first of all, even if your allies are like, we really need help, mid laner, we're really struggling down here, you need to consider, if I go to that lane, can I even do anything? Let's be honest. If I go to that lane, no one in that lane has any stuns, no one has any slows, they're half health right now, so they can't even help me kill them. They just want me to come and kill them so they can sap XP. It's not going to happen. I'm not going down there until either they regen or unless another support comes that does have a stun or a slow or something like that. This is the worst case scenario. But if you're looking into this, it's good. It's good. You can see that you've got stuns, they've got setup. You can get down there. The enemies are overextended maybe. They're not stood right behind their tower. Then you can go and make a rotation and you can get something from it and you're pretty good. However, there's a few other things to consider as well and a few things that I like to do to make sure that you don't get caught rotating. So, first of all, one, push out your wave before you leave. If a wave comes to mid, just nuke it down with any spells that you've got, push it out, auto attack the crap out of it, and push it all the way forward so that you're kind of buying yourself more time to be gone from lane. Secondly, communicate with your allies that you are going to be ganking and you're looking to gank, or whether you're considering it or not, and let them know that they can maybe deward something, so you can like just check if there's any observers there on my path, or also just don't push them out of lane. Don't push them under their tower. Let them overextend a little bit so that you can get behind them and you can kill them. And then also, if you are going to be ganking, consider whether you can actually just go back out of vision in your lane and teleport. That way you can dodge any observers. You can rotate quicker than the enemy are going to expect you to. For example, if the enemy mid laner goes, oh, we're missing in mid, they're then going to think, okay, we've got a good 10 seconds, 15 seconds before they get from mid lane, from walking there all the way down to our lane. Or they're going to think, we've got an observer. It's fine. We can see if they're coming. It's all good. And you're okay. You can teleport in and you can go on them straight away. They don't expect you to be there and you've got the element of surprise. This of course will mean you have to travel back to the mid lane by walking, but of course if you did get the kill and if it ensured you got the thing, then it's probably worth it in most situations. Another thing that I like to do though is I will buy a smoke and bring that out to me, and then I will use that smoke on my courier in fog. I won't let my mid laner see that I've got a smoke. I will leave my courier sort of flying just behind my tower out of view, and then I will walk back, use the smoke, and then walk to the other lane with that on. Then you can just walk past any wards, of course, anyway. Not letting the enemy mid laner see that you have one is super important, so just keep your courier nearby, use it on the courier when you get out of vision, then move your way across. This way you can get behind the enemy, they don't know that you're coming, they don't run away, and you can secure those kills. But again, you want to weigh up whether it's even worth your time doing these ganks anyway. And if you really think it's not worth your time, then tell your allies, like, look, I know you're really struggling in lane, but there's nothing I can do. You don't have any stuns, you don't have any slows, you don't have any damage. You're losing because you've picked a weak lane. If I come down, yeah, it's 3 versus 2, but we're just either gonna watch them walk away from us or we're just gonna die anyway. That way they don't feel just completely abandoned and they can be like, yeah, you're right, you know what, we don't have any stuns. Maybe we can swap another support from a different lane. Maybe another person could come where we can do 4 versus 2 and kill them that way. We can figure out something else. But if you just leave them and ignore them, they might get a little bit pissed off. So talk to them, communicate, but just make sure you are like, yeah, this is a good gank, or I'm not bothering to gank this lane. And there you go, there's 5 things that I've picked up on my time playing mid lane that help me win, make good decisions on roaming and ganking and whatnot, and just playing it overall. Hopefully you found this useful. If you did, please do leave a like. Also guys, please sub to the channel, it helps out so much, and I cannot thank you enough. All you new subs to the channel, it's been crazy. We're getting like 1,000 subs in the last 3 days. Thank you so much and welcome to the channel. But other than that guys, I'll catch you all in the next one. See you there.